gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
You could probably tell by the look on my face that just hearing that question brings back terrible memories. The most thrilling match in WWE history probably has to go to Hell in a Cell 1998. It was The Undertaker versus Mankind, aka Cactus Jack, aka Mick Foley. It was billed as one of the most painful matches that anyone has ever seen. I actually think the WWE on purpose tried to script it to where it would make pretty much anyone and everyone who saw it cringe. I mean, we watched twice, not once, but twice, as Mick Foley fell from 16 feet in the air, from the top of the cage all the way down to the ring floor. The Undertaker is even quoted as saying on the second fall, he actually thought Mick Foley died. Not only that, but on the second time that he fell, a chair that the Undertaker had taken to the top of the cage fell through with Mick Foley, so that when he hit the ground, the chair actually fell on his face. And it's probably one of the most compelling images ever in WWE history, where he smiles with this bloody mouth. He had just received a dislocated jaw from the chair, and one of his teeth are still kind of wiggling and just lingering outside of his mouth. I mean, it's just terrible pain stuff. To top things off, The Undertaker gives him his killer move, the Tombstone, on top of a bed of thumbtacks. I mean, it's just egregious type of pain. And I'm sitting there at a young age trying to figure out, what in the world am I watching? I'm in the 8th grade and I'm seeing these two guys put it on the line for, in my eyes, no reason. All that pain brought a whole lot of clarity to me on that day. Matter of fact, I even boycotted wrestling for a couple months. I just never wanted to be a part of anything so painful. Pain has that effect. It kind of pushes us to the point where we want to avoid anything and everything that has to do with those emotions. Thank you and welcome out to Wrestlemania. Wrestlemania, where we are taking on the question, are you wrestling with God? Each night this week, we are helping individuals that are trying to get a little bit more clarity, a little bit more insight into what they're going through and how to cope with it, how to deal. And so we've gone from wrestling alone and we moved on to wrestling with me, where tonight we're going to take on a different opponent in this ring. And that opponent can be found in Genesis, the 32nd chapter. As you know, all week long, we're in between verses 22 all the way down to verse 30. And we're going to be taking on 1 to 2 verses each presentation. And tonight's 2 verses are going to be verse 25 and verse 26. Once again, that's Genesis, the 32nd chapter, verses 25 and 26. And I'm going to read from the New Living Translation. It reads, "When the man saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of its socket. Then the man said, 'Let me go, for the dawn is breaking.' But Jacob said, 'I will not let you go unless you bless me.'" I really like that last line. "I will not let you go until you bless me." Tonight we're dealing with wrestling with pain. Wrestling with pain. I don't know if any of you have ever been there, but have you ever felt like you were impervious to any opponent in life? Like there are certain high points in life, and we get there and we're living there, we're existing there, and you just kind of feel like Superman or Superwoman. Nothing can stop you. Nothing's going to overcome you. Everything is clicking right. Anything you put your hand to do, you succeed and you even master it. I mean, there are some times in life when we feel like nobody can take us. Nobody can stop us. I remember feeling that way freshman year of high school. Everyone used to get their stripes by wrestling each other. You would go to the boys' dorm and you would take off your shirt. There'd be another guy standing across from you and you guys would just throw down right there on the concrete. And there was a period of time when I felt like, man, I haven't lost in a while. I haven't been stopped. There's no guy who has stepped foot on this concrete and done something with me. Well, guess what? There was one day where I'm wrestling this guy who was a little bit bigger than I was, right? No problem. He's going to be slower than I was. And I'm feeling invincible anyways. No one can stop me. Undefeated. You know, all of this good stuff. And check this out. I get him in a hold and actually take him down. But what happens is his big body falls on my right knee. So as I wrap him over me and kind of hip toss him, he falls on my knee. And all of a sudden, I'm just like in this excruciating pain. See, there's one principle that we need to unify our thoughts around this evening, and that is simply this. When you feel like you're on top, there is one thing that will ground you pretty fast: pain. Pain will do it every day of the week. If you feel like no one can touch you, have some pain shoot up your leg. If you feel like it is impossible to defeat you, have some pain hit your mind. I mean, just throwing up and feeling nauseated can ground you quickly. Jacob here is having an invincible moment. We know this because his opponent talks about how he doesn't feel so confident. Watch this in verse 25. When the man, this is the individual that Jacob is grappling with. When the man saw that he would not win, pause right there. Jacob's opponent got to the place where he was saying, this brother right here a little bit too strong. This brother right here got a lot of heart. There is no quitting him. We've been fighting all night long. We know this because in verse 24 of the same chapter, we know that they wrestled until the dawn began to break. They have been wrestling for hours now, and Jacob's opponent sees something in Jacob that is like no quit, no stop, no give up. And this causes Jacob's opponent to stop and say, listen, I don't know if I'm going to win. So guess what's the next thing he introduces to Jacob's experience? Pain. He touched Jacob's hip in verse 25 and wrenched it out of its socket. Now that word wrench there simply means hit and dislocate. Okay, so somehow this man got a power punch going. I don't know if he put him in some kind of ankle lock. I don't know what happened. If it was a karate chop, a little kung fu grip, I don't know. All I know is he hit the thigh and it immediately fell out of its socket. That is painful. Dislocated joints are very painful. And so now you have the introduction of pain, and now Jacob has to make up a decision. Will his pain stop his battle? Will his pain stop his pursuit? Now, this is a very key point in his fight. He has had success all night to the point where this other guy says, this brother right here is the real deal. I mean, his opponent knows this is no joke. And at the point where pain is introduced, now Jacob has to stand there and say, am I going to work through the pain or am I going to stop because of it? I think a lot of people are right there, right at that last sentence. You are at this crossroads between working through your pain or stopping because of it. There is a point in each person's life where you're no longer wrestling against an opponent and you're no longer wrestling against yourself. What you're going to have to wrestle against is pain.
Pain is that main opponent that's going to get you to quit. It's going to be the one that gets you to tap out on the mat. It's going to be the one that has your arm up like this and you're saying, uncle, like your big uncle just has his hand all over you and around you and will not let you go. Listen, it is very key for us to see life and all of the tough parts of it in one sentence. Will I work through the pain, or am I going to stop because of the pain? If Jacob gives up at this point in the wrestling match, he will have a good excuse. I want you to know that pain will always give you a great excuse to quit. I mean, if you see someone on the floor writhing in pain, most people are going to pause and stop the activity anyway. Our hearts automatically go out to individuals who are in great pain. Even the greatest, buffest, hardest guy will be brought to tears if he sees a little child crying because he is in excruciating pain. See, pain always makes us feel sympathetic. Therefore, we all kind of know in the back of our minds that if we ever come up against some pain and we decide to wave the white flag, everyone will understand, everyone will give us a pass. So as we read the text, and it says, when the man saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of socket. But then the man says, the opponent, let me go, for the dawn is breaking. See, there is the window of escape for Jacob. He doesn't have to go through this pain any longer. He could stop right now. The guy did not say, hey, I'm about to kill you. The guy did not say, oh, you think that was bad, take this. The guy says, hey, if you're good, I'm good. If you want to quit, I'll quit too. Hey, man, just let me go. We can shake hands. We can part ways. You'll never see me again. See, there is that excuse place that pain provides individuals. You have a dream, pain is going to come. You're having success, pain is going to meet you. You have something that you're really deep down in your heart striving for. Guess what's going to be there to try to stop you in your tracks and get you to turn around and walk in the opposite direction? Pain. And it's not going to do it necessarily by beating you down until you die. It may, in fact, pause in the match and give you an excuse, a way out of going through any more of this pain. But watch how Jacob responds in verse 26. Then the man said, let me go, for the dawn is breaking. But Jacob said, I will not let you go. I will not let you go. There is an interesting phenomenon in Wrestlemania history, and it is called the hold, okay? The submission lock. The submission lock. A submission hold is, simply put, a hold that gets you in a very uncomfortable position, and it's putting some pressure on a joint or on a muscle, and so much pressure is being put on that joint or muscle that you finally decide, I want to stop. I want to give up. Now check this out. The hold, though, is something that can be even uncomfortable to sustain. I mean, if I get someone in the figure 4 leg lock, it's not easy to hold them in that lock. If I get someone in the walls of Jericho back lock, it's not going to be easy to hold them in that lock. If I get them in Kurt Angle's ankle lock, it's not going to be easy to keep that person down there. See, holds are tough not only on the person being held, but also on the holder. Some would say that Jacob right now should have the easy job. He gets to be in the position where he just says, no, I'm not going to let you go. And then the other guy's just dragging him across the dirt, and he's like, no, I'm not going to let you go. But holding on is tough. Holding on is not easy. It is just not getting out of the hold that's difficult. Sometimes it takes even more energy just to hold on. So as we see Jacob here in the text, now he's degraded to just simply holding on. He's in so much pain that he has no more moves. He has no more combinations to throw. All he can manage to do is hold on. Tonight you're wrestling with your pain, and the message is very clear and simple. Hold on. It is very tough. No, I am not trying to degrade. I am not trying to devalue how hard it is to hold on. Remember, I just said it is sometimes harder to hold on than it is to try to break out of a hold. But check this out. That is the way to wrestle with your pain. That is the way to wrestle with your discomfort. You simply have to bear down, accept the discomfort, and say, I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to hold on with all of my might. And that is when we see the blessing get introduced to the story. If you want to know why you haven't gotten your relief yet, why you've been wrestling for so long with the same thing and you can't seem to get that relief point in your journey, I want to encourage you right now, because Jacob got his. He decided, I'm going to hold on. I'm going to keep on wrestling in spite of the pain. And at the end of verse 26, he says, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Catch this principle. Pain always has a payoff. Pain has a payoff. When we experience pain, a lot of us feel as if it's something we're giving for free, as if it's just going to be a lost investment. Man, I went through all of this and nothing happened for me. I went through all of this and hey, I'm still in the same position. So that's when we decide it's not worth holding on anymore, because we're not really seeing a return on our investment. We put all this sweat equity into wrestling with this thing and haven't gotten anything in return. But Jacob gets something in return. Specifically, he gets a blessing in return. See, pain has a payoff. But I do want you to see where it really is going to pay off for you. When you're wrestling with pain, you're going to find that you get clarity in the painful moments. Do you notice here in the text that they've been wrestling all night? But if you look back at verse 25 and 26, you don't see Jacob really trying to hold on to this guy until the pain happens. I believe that when the wrestling match first started, he was trying to get this guy off of him. But something in the pain moment changed his focus. It changed even his motivation, and now he moves to holding on to this guy. What happened? I think Jacob finally in that painful moment had an epiphany hit his mind. This is no average man. This is just not some human being that's trying to take my life. I'm starting to remember, if he really wanted to take my life, he probably would have done it at 2 a.m. or maybe at 3 a.m. I know he probably would have done it at 4 a.m. Now it's 5 a.m. and I'm still out here wrestling with this guy. I actually don't think this is an average man. Now watch this. Jacob would have known this because not too many men have the strength he had. Back in Genesis, the 29th chapter, we find that Jacob is able to move a stone in verse 10 of Genesis 29 that took multiple shepherds to move on any other day. So Jacob had this tremendous amount of strength. Okay, he had so much strength that a task that took multiple men to do, he would be able to do it by himself. And so Jacob is not used to anybody actually hanging in there with him. I mean, if he throws you on the ground, you're going to stay on the ground. If he punches you in your mouth, you're not going to fight anymore. That's just what he is used to. But this rascal has been tussling with me all night long. And I don't know what he just did, but my hip just came out of socket, and I don't recall having this much pain ever in my life. I don't think this is average. Certain pain is not average pain. It's not pain where you prick your finger. It's not pain where some oil splatters on your arm. It is pain that is trying to open up the door of clarity for you. It is trying to give you a broader perspective. If you look back in your life, I believe that the most profound moments you've ever had were moments of great pain. It's just something about pain that can open up your eyes and help you to start seeing things like you've never seen them before. Pain just has that effect. Yeah, pain is an opponent, but I want to suggest this evening that pain can also be the master teacher. that if we are not always trying to stay away from pain and always try to run to the corner of comfort, that maybe we will find out that our circumstance is not an average one, that we just may not be tussling with flesh and blood, but with spiritual principalities and things in higher places, that maybe I'm being withstood not on this grounded carnal reality that I live in, but maybe in this other spiritual dimension. Maybe it's that I'm right at the doorstep of a major breakthrough. See, pain's goal is to get you to turn around. Yeah, we all know that. But if you don't turn around, and if you instead, like Jacob, simply say, no, I'm going to hold on, and you're not going nowhere. I'm not going to stop. I'm not even going to slow down. You're going to get more out of me because I'm in this painful spot. Then pain respects that. I don't know if y'all ever been in a fight with somebody, but if you and your opponent at the end of your fight are still kind of standing and okay, like you both gave some licks, you have a renewed respect for that individual. Some of my best friends to this day are individuals that I went to fisticuffs with. I don't know what it is about a fight that can bring you closer to individuals. I think, personally, that it's mutual respect. If I hit you and you didn't go down, you hit me and I didn't go down, we just standing there like, okay, you real. You the real deal. I mean, you know punk. I respect it. You dap up, you move on, and now you have this mutual respect for each other. Pain is the same way. At first, it's going to try to punk you. It's going to try to get you to give up your spot, to move out of the way, give me your muffin type of stuff, and it's going to tell you to get to going, to get out of here, go about your business. But when you look back at pain and say, no, I'm here to stay. We're going to rumble, young man, rumble. We're going to be in this thing until the dawn breaks. There's a point where your pain begins to respect your effort. It begins to respect your resolve, and it comes out saying, you know what, I'm actually going to help you out right now. I'm going to help you see something about yourself and this situation that you've never seen before. My challenge to you is get some respect from pain. Go after it. Fight it until it respects you. Fight it until it gives you this new pair of 3D glasses that helps you see things in a way you've never seen them before. You fight your pain until you come to that moment of epiphany, because the text says at the end of your wrestling, you will be blessed. There is a payoff for pain. Clarity of perspective. So often, though, we are simply demoted to a place and position of trying to fight off the pain, that we never consider the fact that that pain could be trying to offer us a clarity of perspective that we will never have unless we embrace that moment. Jacob has a dislocated hip, very painful. Been fighting all night long. He's very tired. And yet he says, I will not let you go until you bless me. Is that going to be your plea this evening? As you watch this, are you inspired by what Jacob has done? Are you inspired by the fact that he went through great amounts of pain but didn't use that as an excuse or a way out? Will you sit there and look at this and say, you know what, I'm going to embrace the pain. I'm going to embrace the discomfort, and I'm going to allow this moment to show me something that I've never seen, to give me a clarity that I've always wanted but never received in the past. I want this pain to respect me, and I will earn its respect, and it will give me the clarity that I desire. I'm hoping that is your desire, because at the end of that type of declaration, you will have a blessing. You will find a newness. You will walk out of that. Yes, you will survive. And on the other side of that, you'll have information that you've never had previous. But it will only come if you accept the pain, if you accept the fatigue, and if you move on in a direction of saying, you know what, I'm going to gain its respect. And when I do, I will be blessed.
Pain gives us understandings that we otherwise would not have. It's an opportunity for us to grow and to expand in our awareness base. There is a disease called ganglia neuropathy. It's a disease where our brain is not receiving the signals from our extremities. So for example, if you have ganglion neuropathy, you could touch a hot stove but not know that it's hot. You could step on a nail but have no idea that there's a problem. Your body is not responding to pain, and that's a challenge. Pain awakens us, lets us know that there's some information we need to receive. It enables us to know that we need to go a different way, or that we need to adjust some behavior. We don't need to avoid wrestling with pain. We need to wrestle in pain, through pain, with pain, so that we can gain the insight that God wants us to receive. At Riverside, Nashville, we're a church that realizes that all of us inevitably are going to go through some pain. And we want to support one another as we wrestle with pain so that we can get to the other side, so that we can become better and brighter and bolder, and we can experience all that God has for us. We want to support you in wrestling with pain so that God can make us all that He wants us to be.